The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acomb. We are broadcasting from the Hesselson studio, and this is the Steuben County Office for the Aging section of our program. Steuben County Office for the Aging, committed to maximizing quality of life, safety, and independence. Joining us in the Hesselson studio, Michael, it's good to have you back.
Hey, it's good to be back, Frank.
How's the campaign going? It's crunch time.
It's good. It's crunch time.
Yeah.
It's going well. The early voting has started over at the County Annex building on Moore Street. Early voting from 9 to 5 through Sunday, and then Election Day next Tuesday, the 24th, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Right.
Voting in Thurston, Cameron, and then in Canisteo at the Summers Hall. I think I want to remind voters, running in Thurston, town supervisor, re-election for town supervisor, there's a primary challenge there, and then also District 9 county legislator for Thurston, Cameron, and Canisteo residents have a primary challenges there as well. Thurston voters, when you go vote, you should fill my name in twice on the ballot. It's right next to each other, but your ballot should have my name on there twice.
Make
sure,
right?
Make sure. If it doesn't, go ask for another ballot.
Yeah, that's right. So what's your Tuesday going to look like? Because you have two very important elections right on the same night. Kind of a stressful situation. What do you plan for Tuesday?
Tuesday, we're just going to. We've got numbers. We'll be phone banking all day. We're going to make sure everyone's getting out to vote and just double checking.
Tell us a little bit about your background. I know you've been Thurston Town Supervisor. What has that experience been like for you?
As it relates, so I started, in local government first as historian in 2018 in Thurston, then joined the board in 2020. I've been town supervisor since March of 2023. Wow. And it's been a very rewarding experience. I think we as a town board have accomplished a lot of, we'll say, big initiatives the past couple of years, and I'd like to continue on with that as town supervisor, and then also take the experience I've gained as town supervisor and kind of translate that into the county legislature role.
What does it feel like to have your name synonymous with sludge? You worked hard on that. You really did.
Yeah, we worked very hard, and that when I started in March 2023, we kind of had a lot of turmoil, with our town as a result of that. We had our town supervisor, board member, town attorney, all resign over it. But we felt, so a little context, this was a 40-year practice, spreading sewage sludge in the town of Thurston. We became concerned in late 2022 when a large waste management company acquired property in the town of Thurston. They wanted to, expand on this operation, bring in this sewage sludge from, Long Island, primarily the Bay Park wastewater treatment facility, one of the largest in the state. And the problem with spreading municipal sewage sludge on farmland is it's highly contaminated with, a cocktail of chemicals, but PFAS in particular. And we're finding now PFAS chemicals, forever chemicals, don't break down the environment and being linked to cancer. So we really felt it was in
the best interest
of the residents. After a water testing effort in 2023 showed a lot of private wells were contaminated with sewage sludge or with PFAS chemicals. We felt the need to do something, and we were the first town in New York State to successfully regulate, effectively prohibit this.
You were ahead of the curve.
Right, we're ahead. And actually, last week
you started the conversation, which I think is so important.
We started the conversation. The town of Cameron passed an identical piece of legislation last week at their meeting, and you might have heard that this past week the New York State Senate has passed a 5-year moratorium on sewage sludge spreading statewide. Our local representative, Tom O'Mara, voted in favor of it. It was a bipartisan piece of legislation. It looks like the Assembly is going to follow suit by June 30th. The big question is, what is the governor going to do?
That's always the question.
So anyway,
she hasn't really signaled one way or the other, though.
So a reporter from Spectrum asked her last week what her stance was on it, and she said, "Well, I need to be brought up to speed on it.
Okay. Yes.
I've been offering to bring her up to speed for 2 years, but she doesn't return my calls. So
You don't have her cell phone, huh?
No, I don't. Unfortunately, no.
But you mentioned that you believe, and I think you're right,
Yeah.
that your time as Thurston Town Supervisor will translate well to legislature. But that's not an easy decision to make. So when did you sit down and say, I think I've got what it takes to be legislator?
I think probably in the fall of last year, actually, the Cameron Town Supervisor, Bob Manley, he kind of urged me to step up for this role, given that we pretty much had kind of been on our own throughout this process of, the sewage sludge fight, we'll say.
Right.
We really had no help from our county representatives, so I kind of felt the need that, we need to have an active,
voice.
on the ground representative, and also looked at the flooding, the devastation in Cameron and in Canisteo the past August. This past week again, more flooding, and it's affected parts of Thurston as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's we need someone that's really involved and active at the county level as well.
And you mentioned the flooding, and this is obviously because it's been happening so much lately, that this has started the conversation on that as well. As legislator, what would you like to see done in regards to the flooding?
Oh, I think the first thing is we need our creeks, our streams, our culverts, our ditches. They need to be cleaned, and that's like
a no-brainer, right?
I mean, come on. It's like the primary thing that we need, and we need assistance.
Yeah, we really do, and there's a lot of bureaucracy involved. I understand that. I know towns. I've heard a lot of people complain about different reasons why they can't, but I know Congressman Langworthy said it when he visited after the last big round of flooding, that enough about the mussel or whatever, some little organism that they can't. We've got to clean this up because it's costing taxpayers a fortune.
Right. It is.
And since you brought up one major issue, flooding, the second major issue, and I know I mentioned this last time you were on the program, but I do think you deserve kudos, you and the board, for that resolution supporting the sheriff, because that is arguably the biggest story when it comes to legislature, what we've dealt with anyway on this program. Your thoughts on the kind of the sheriff versus the county?
Oh, I guess the big thing I'm in total, support of the sheriff. The town board is too. I think this is in my opinion, like a non-issue. We have many other issues at the county level that we need to be addressing. And again, the sheriff is a duly elected individual. If the voters have issue with him, they can vote him out.
They clearly didn't.
They clearly didn't. He won re-election with 78% of the vote. So for me, that kind of ends this discussion.
And the fact that they're still hinting at appeal, which I still can't figure out. We talked with the sheriff last week or 2 weeks ago. We still can't figure out what the appeal really is appealing, because there was no monetary. Only the taxpayers spending on the lawyer fees. So it's all very confusing. And like you said, there's so much going on in Steuben County that doesn't seem to be where the focus should be. Right. Easy as that.
Yeah.
So you took out petitions. You've been knocking on doors. You're a hard campaigner. You're known for that. What have the voters been saying to you?
So as it relates to...
in general.
And general, I think as I've been talking to voters in Thurston, certainly roads, right? Roads are the
Especially
big
this
thing,
time of
and
year.
that's always. And now with the flooding, this past week, the roads, and that's, we as a town board, we are working on putting together a 5-year capital project plan as it relates to our roads, as it relates to equipment, repairs and replacements, and we just we need to communicating to the residents. Your road will get attention, and we are limited in our funding too, given that. The governor clearly does not prioritize small towns like Thurston. CHIPS funding continues to stay stagnant. It's becoming harder and harder to purchase diesel engines, combustion engines. She has her push towards everything electric. So we're trying, and we at least we're putting a plan. We have a plan in place.
Michael's our guest. I wanted to ask. That was my old radio school days of saying your name to kill. I was looking for my next question. How was Crazy Days?
Well, it was crazy.
It was crazy.
Right. So we were
truth in advertising.
Right. So we had originally planned, to be there for 2 days, Friday and Saturday. Friday, rained out, so we weren't really able to participate in anything that day. But Saturday, great weather. We were able to connect with a lot of the residents of Canisteo, as well as participate in their Crazy Day Parade, which was great.
Yeah. What we talked about this last time you were on the program, but it is kind of a short time frame. It's weird, right? With the primary, it seems like you just handed in petitions, right? And now here it is. Early voting's begun. Tuesday is primary day. Have you been able to pack in everything you've wanted to in this short amount of time?
I think I have. I would have liked, to speak to a few more residents. I will go out again, this weekend, talk to some more. That's why I've, been trying to use Facebook to communicate. We sent out mailers last week. I've tried to make my number, my contact readily available to anyone.
Sure.
If I haven't got you, feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to, stop by and talk or whatever.
Well, I'm excited for it because that's if you're successful, then you have all those months to wait till the general election, right? It's just It's got to be frustrating. But you did have a couple meet the candidate events, right? Other than just Crazy Days.
We did Crazy Days, and then we also did an event at the Cameron Mills Market at the end of May.
Okay.
That was met with a lot of Cameron as well as Thurston residents that day. Again, wasn't great weather, cold, rainy, but still we had a good turnout.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So before we go, where can people find out more and find out how to help your campaign?
So we have a Vote Volino Facebook page. Friend us on there, and then we have our email, votevolino@gmail.com.
If you have any questions.
If you have any questions, reach out. Yep.
And you had signs, right? I think I saw a picture online. You're out taking out signs.
We do have signs. You send me a text, send an email if you'd like a sign. We're happy to give you one.
All right. So before people either early vote or they go in on the 24th, what would you say to those voters?
I would say, look at what I've done the past 2 years in Thurston. I have really worked very hard to address residents' concerns, to communicate with them. I'm doing this for the benefit of the community, to better Thurston, to better District 9. I have no ulterior motives, no private interest in this. It's really, I want to I care about this community and this area, and I want to see it continue to become better.
Well, we'll be watching your race closely. Best of luck on Tuesday, and we hope to have you on again soon.
Okay, thanks
for
Frank.
doing this twice.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. All right, we'll be right back with Frankly Speaking. Stay with us.